Facebook. It's not just for college kids anymore. 1 out of every 14 of us has an account. That's more than 500 million registered users around the world. Its net worth exceeds $33 billion, and it has even inspired a blockbuster film. I could use a dream or a genie or a wish. But perhaps the most stunning fact about the world's most popular social network is the connections it has made possible. The countless number of true stories of people who've been brought together, reunited, or had their lives touched in some way by Facebook. It was these stories that inspired New York writer Emily Liebert to write Facebook Fairy Tales, which highlights some modern-day miracles made possible by social networking. So Facebook Fairy Tales, such a cool book, so of the moment. What can people expect with this book?
They will get 25 amazing stories from Facebook Fairy Tales, anything from professional success stories to personal success stories. And I think that the book really inspires people and renews this sort of faith in the kindness of the human spirit.
Hi, I'm Denise. I found 2 rings 23 years ago, and because of Facebook, I was able to return them to Jody.
At 17 years old, I was given a ring, a class ring, by my father, and it was not an easy job getting him to get this ring for me. I had a very, it wasn't a very happy childhood. My father was an amazing man, my mother was not. And unfortunately, my mother was the one I lived with. So the time I did get to spend with him was really important. And I knew how much of a hardship him getting this ring for me was going to be. But at 16, 17 years old, you don't care. You want what you want. So it meant the world to me. I lost the rings in the underground nightclub, and I was there illegally, fake ID, the whole 9 yards. It was a great time.
I remember finding the rings. I went to the bathroom, I washed my hands, and I was like, oh my God, look at this. I was like, there's 2 rings. It's right on the sink.
That night I realized that I lost the rings after I had gotten home. I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated.
So I put them in my jewelry box, pretty much right next to mine, and that's where they stayed for 23 years. Now being older, you realize, the sentimental value of having a high school ring. So I looked her up on Facebook, and I wrote her a little note.
And it was amazing. And it had to have been, I think, maybe 4 days. There was a FedEx package on my front door. It just brought back all, the memories of the hardship and what my father had to go through to get them for me. Not long after, I was diagnosed with colon cancer, and I put my father's ring on, and I looked at his picture, and I asked him for advice, and he gave it to me, and I'm here now, and I'm in remission, and I'm doing great. I do believe things happen for a reason, and if I ever needed those rings back, that was the time to get them back.
I believe in fate. I believe everything happens for a reason.
When I see your face.
Such a nice story. Betty White may think it's a complete waste of time, but then you hear something like that and you think,
Great story.
Facebook has its good value too.